Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. My name is Anis van Rhijn, and I'm a life and business success mentor to female entrepreneurs who want to be successful, but on their own terms. Today, at the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, it's my privilege to be interviewing Gosia Gorna. Gosia is a transformational coach, a speaker, and soon-to-be published author of From Fear to Brilliance. She helps change makers achieve outstanding decisions, clear their fears, and use their intuition with confidence. She is the creator of the expansion game, which helps people to turn their biggest fears into their biggest successes. She loves to see her clients accessing their natural state of brilliance and making bigger difference in the world. Welcome to the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show. How are you?
Fantastic. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to speaking to you.
I'm delighted to have you. So for the viewers, I met Gosia 1 or 2 months ago when she was running a workshop. I was one of the participants. And funny enough, so I already knew that I wanted to interview her. I told her. But funny enough, I've met since a few people who kept saying to me, you need to interview Gosia Gorna. So I had no choice. I have to. So tell us more about you. I know a little bit of your story, but obviously the viewers don't. So tell us more about you.
Yeah, so I'm a coach, but I'm not just a coach, because originally I was doing a lot more work with therapy, and some actually a combination of 3 things that actually never happen in a session. Normally don't actually happen. Mm-hmm. Because in the session I use my intuition to see what's the best thing for the person to do, to let go of. I look at their life's purpose, their gifts and their talents. So you could actually say that this is quite intuitive. I'm not exactly a psychic, but the energy that I'm using is very intuitive and psychic. And then if I need to clear something, I use a lot of therapeutic tools and cleansing tools. And usually when you study coaching, people say if someone's got some problems in the past, you send them to a therapist, right? Well, I don't send them to a therapist. I deal with them in the moment with whatever I can do to help them. And then we end with coaching. So I combine intuitive insight, therapeutic interventions, and coaching together.
Interesting. That must be fascinating. I'd like to have a session with you.
Yeah.
So Gosia, given this is the Woman Who Makes Things Happen show, I'd like to know how you made things happen in your life. So maybe you can rewind your story a bit before coming back to what you're doing today.
Okay, so maybe I can start from the very beginning, okay?
That's fine.
How I started doing what I'm doing. So when I was very young, I was 21 when I came to England from Poland. And in that time, I really wasn't quite sure what I should be doing, but I was guided. And I was studying in a place called East-West Center, and I was studying about Chinese medicine, macrobiotic cooking. And I was sitting in a restaurant with my friend, who was one of my colleagues in a class. It was a macrobiotic restaurant, and I just knew a little bit about it. I didn't know everything. And she was sitting there, and this young man comes through the door. He was about 35 or something like that. And he says, "Hi, I'm looking for a cook who could be cooking for my sister. My sister has got a cancer, and do you know anybody?" And my friend says, "She's the best one in the whole center. She is the best person for you." And I go like, what? And she kicks me under the table, and he says, "Can I have your business card?" Well, obviously I didn't have a business card.
Imagine.
I was actually a student, and at that time I was doing lots of different jobs, secretarial jobs, cooking, cleaning up, but I wasn't certainly calling myself a macrobiotic cook, right? But I said yes. Okay, so even though I had this fear sort of coming through my head, what if I mess it up? What if I poison them? What if I'm no good? And he said, well, then call my sister or she will call you, and we've connected. And I went to see her. And she was a wonderful woman. And I started cooking for her. And it was actually quite marvelous and magnificent. And it went on like that for a few months. And she was getting better. And I was quite amazed. And I knew nothing, absolutely nothing about how to help people emotionally and mentally. I intuitively knew how to, but not practically. And one day she was going to go and see her mother, and she booked a ticket. And when she booked the ticket, she started getting worse. And then she canceled the ticket and she got better. And then a few months went by, she booked the ticket again, and she immediately started getting sick, vomiting, and all her symptoms started getting worse. So then at that point, I said to her, what's the story with your mother? And she said, well, I will never forgive her for what she did. Never. And I said to her, I think you need to forgive her. And she says, I don't know how to do it. Do you know how to do it? And I went, no, I hate my father. I don't know how to do this. But I know you need to. And then I went away for a few months. And when I went away, she died. She was very young. She had 2 little kids. And I was quite shocked. And I was thinking, well, cooking is not enough. And I already had different clients, and I was, cooking for many people, and they were getting better and healthier and stronger. And I realized the food is not the only answer.
No, of course.
I need to take care of the mind. Yeah, and then it started from there, really. I started studying different things. Actually, in fact, my first course was NLP and timeline therapy, and then I continued learning other things. So that was actually my beginning.
Wow. What an interesting story. Quite unusual.
Yeah, I've got a lot more of those, but that was truly how I came on the path of the cooking, because I was always interested in healthy food and macrobiotic food and vegetarian food. I was a vegetarian since I was 13, but I've never really thought ever that I would cook for people, professionally. And then, for a while I was cooking for people who were unwell, and I was already studying, and I was combining those 2 things together, and it was very effective. Yeah.
How interesting. Very interesting approach. So the fact, the way you started, you arrived at 21 in London. What did you find most challenging? And the reason I'm asking is that I'm increasingly, center of London, of course, interviewing people who are foreigners, in fact. So how do you adapt? I mean, I'm one myself, but how do you adapt to different culture, etc.? How does that work for you?
The challenges then, not now, but then, were obviously that everything that I've ever wanted to do, which was mostly studying, all those things were very expensive. Mm-hmm. £6,000, £5,000, £1,000. And I was thinking, how am I going to pay for this? In fact, I tell you another story. So I went to an introductory evening, NLP, and the woman was talking about what she's going to be teaching in the main course. And she said, well, and if you want to sign up today, there is a discount. So I went up to her and I said, I think the course was about £5,000. I've got no idea. This was so many years ago. But it was like, for me, like buying a house today kind of thing. That was the amount of money that I had to spend. And I said to her, I absolutely want to do it. And I don't know where to find the money for this, because it's like unbelievably expensive. And I think that was June, and the course was like November. Mm-hmm. Or October. And she said to me, do you believe in the power of the mind? And I said, yes. She said, do you meditate? I said, yes. Do you ever do any manifestation? And I said, yes, but I've never manifested such a big amount of money. So she said, well, then test your things and see how well they work. If you're meant to be on this course, visualize it, that you're already here, and I see you in October. So And I've manifested a lot of amazing things, like from one day to another, quite extraordinary, you know. But I've never actually applied it to, particularly to money at that point. So then I went home, I visualized myself on the course, I've sent some loving energy towards my dream, my wish. And then next day, or even the same day, a phone call came through and someone said, listen, I've heard of you, and my brother's just gone sick. She's gone to hospital, and I want you to cook for him every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And then you go home, and then you come back next day, and I want you to do that for 2 months. Because then his wife is coming back and she'll take over. And I went like, oh, for 2 months. And he said, how much will you charge me? And I said, well, quite a lot of money. And he says, money doesn't matter. I love my brother and I want him to get better. You want? I'll give it to you. So I calculated roughly that, so it's fair, you know, and I've more or less earned exactly the right amount of money. And whatever I wasn't able to, I went to speak to her, and she said, okay, the remaining £500, whatever, you can help me in my office, and it's done. So that was really early on when I've learned there's absolutely nothing that can stop me from attracting what I really truly want, and it's on my soul's journey. So it wasn't so much from my head, you know, my ego, my soul knew that I needed to go through this path. So I just noticed the signs and I said yes, and I allowed it to happen.
Wow. So in that journey, because I want also to talk with you about all the work you do with cancer patients, etc. So I'd like to spend some time on that as well. But before we do that, what would you say has been for you the most challenging in that whole journey of arriving at 21 in the UK and being where you are today?
It's very interesting because when I'm thinking about this time, I think there have not been that many challenges apart from dramatic things like, you know, I actually came to England without much money at all. I think I've had in my pocket 100 quid and nowhere to live and no work.
No, I know the feeling.
And actually, yeah, that's another interesting story. You know, when I came to England, I was invited by my friend to stay with her in her house, and she lived with her boyfriend. And when he was a bit dodgy, and when she went to work one day, he said to me, "Why don't we have sex?" Right?
Of course,
as you do. And I said, "No, thank you. You know, that's absolutely not something that I'll be interested in." And he goes, okay. And then later on in that day, when she came in the evening about 1 o'clock, because she worked as a waitress in a pizza place, she comes crying and she says, "You have to leave now. In this very moment, you have to leave." Of course, he was angry with me. I didn't actually say anything. And so that was my biggest challenge ever. You know, to that point, because I had no money. I could actually not live on this for very long at all. I don't know if 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, I don't know. So that was a huge challenge, but I've actually spent the whole evening meditating, the whole night meditating. I've lit a candle and I prayed. I've asked my guides to come and support me. And I have written a vision of where I want to be in a year or 2 years from then. Mm-hmm. So because I had no choice, I couldn't really surrender to my fear too much. I only knew that I had to focus on what I want. And I went for a walk on next day, and I asked him, could I just leave my bag here, but I will come back for it later in the evening. And I absolutely trusted that by the time I come back for the bag, I will have somewhere to go.
Wow. So how did you do that?
And shall I tell you?
Yeah.
And so I got lost, you know, like not really lost. And I ended up going into a health food shop. And the owner of the health food shop was standing in the door, and I didn't know he was the owner of the rest of the shop. And I loved health food shops because I was a vegetarian, so I looked around and I was thinking, gosh, wouldn't it be great to actually work here one day? That would be my ideal. So I asked the person who is selling food, I said, excuse me, do you have any work here? I would like to work here. And he goes, oh, you can leave your CV, but not at the moment, thank you. And this is an interesting one. And as I was walking out of the shop, obviously I couldn't afford to buy anything. It was also expensive, no different to now. The owner of the shop said to me, hello, how are you? And being newly sort of arrived person in UK, I said, I'm not very good. Thank you for
which you don't say.
No, you don't say it. And he was shocked, and he nearly fell over. And but obviously English people are very polite, and actually they're very compassionate. And he said, why is that? And I said to him, I'm looking for a job, and I can't find anything, and I don't particularly have anywhere to live today. And I don't have much money, but I actually have so much passion and good, so that's my honest truth. So then I've learned that when you tell people the truth, it pays off.
Mm-hmm. I believe that.
And but he said to me, can you leave me your business card?
Again.
Yes, there's no business card. And actually that's before that event that I just, this is the original event, probably the most important turning point in my life in England. So I said, I've got no business card, and say goodbye. And I walked out of the shop, and I walked maybe 500 meters. And then he drove behind me. He opened the car. He said, come in, get in. And I looked at him, and I thought, he looks like a good man. I'll get in. I'll come.
Gosh, you didn't think I will end up sliced in the back of the car, whatever?
Because it was Notting Hill Gate. It was in the middle of London. And, I still didn't know who he was, right? And anyway, so in the car, he says, I'm the owner of this shop. Come with me. And I was thinking, wow, maybe he will give me a job. And then we parked the car outside the house, the flat. He opened the door. We walked up. Above the shop, there was a flat, his flat. And he opens the door, and right in front of the door is sitting a woman, a wonderful woman, who is 8 months pregnant. And he said, let me introduce you to my wife. She's too tired now to cook. You've told me that you're a vegetarian. Would you like to go back wherever you live, take your bag, come and live with us, and cook for us?
This is incredible.
Till she gives birth to our child, and then we move to another county. We're selling the shop. And I went like, well, absolutely. I was so amazed. I was speechless. So I went there, picked up the bag, came there, and lived with them for a few days. And I cooked whatever I knew how to, which included eggs, wheat, dairy, and which they didn't eat.
Oh my God.
Yeah, they don't. But they were polite and kind. They were very lovely people. And then after that, they said, you know what, we have to send you off to a school. How to learn how to cook the macrobiotic food which we eat with macrobiotic. And that was the event.
The beginning of your story. Oh.
Yes, and they paid for me for that course.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's actually, this is the turning point of my life.
I can imagine.
But I've used my intuition. I felt safe to actually to get into his car. I also told him the truth. When he said, how are you? I said, actually, I'm not very well. So I was honest. I used my intuition, and I was quite fearless and quite determined and quite intentional. So that's how I made that happen.
This is incredible. So this is definitely not the everyday's journey that we've had on this show. I've had quite interesting stories, but this is quite interesting as a start indeed. So you turn, if I can say it like that, from one course into the other, progressively adding new set of skills, etc. So how long ago did you set up your business then?
Well, actually, I've set up my business immediately.
Oh, you did?
Without realizing that I have set it up, right? But what happened was that in the beginning I was doing work as a cook for quite a while, for many, many years. But at some point, I went to see a psychic. And I actually wanted to ask her about my journey, my career. I didn't want to ask her about money or even particularly boyfriends, nothing like that. But she told me everything. And she said to me, you're very, very intuitive. When you were a child, you saw angels and things. And is that right? And I said, yeah, I did. And she said, well, you're still intuitive. Why don't you use it? You can do what I do. And I was thinking to myself, I don't want to do what you do, you know, but because it was really, 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 you know, strange. But she said to me, I show you an exercise and see how you get on with it. And I tried it and told her what I saw. And she said, this is it. She said, you absolutely can do what I do now. So I've noticed that increasingly, whenever I was with someone, I started getting very specific insights about their life's journey, but particularly about their life's purpose. Mm-hmm. So not like who they're going to get married to, how many kids they're going to have. No, it was more like
the why.
Yeah, and for instance, that was also one of the very first events. At that moment I was with a lovely man, Glenn, and he had a party in his house, and we were together, and he invited a lady called Nancy, and Nancy was an accountant, and we were sitting together, and I looked at her at some point, and I said, Nancy, I see you in a monastery, and I see you living in a monastery and being very happy, and she laughed in my face, and she said, monastery? I don't even believe in God. I don't believe in anything. Something on those lines, she said. And I said, yeah, it must be some mistake. And then about a year later, I've received their postcard. And she said, hi, Gosia. This is Nancy. I don't know if you remember me. We met at the party. You know, I've went on a stress release course.
Just 1 second. Just 1 second, Gosia. We seem to have a little connection problem. Can you talk again?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you can repeat, because I think it disappeared.
Yes. So basically, so Nancy sent me a postcard, and she said, "Hi, Gosia. I don't know if you remember me, but my name is Nancy. We've met at the party, at the barbecue. And I went on a retreat to a Buddhist monastery, and I was very stressed out, and actually I loved it so much that I stayed. I shaved my head, and I only remembered recently that you told me I'm going to be a nun. So thank you very much. All the best, Nancy."
It's funny. Gosia, I'm becoming conscious of time. Can you tell us more about the work you do today, and maybe also the charity work that you're involved in, etc.? And in that process, tell us also where people can find you, etc.
Yeah. So for many years, from the very beginning, I was working with women who suffer from breast cancer. And I was lucky enough, or I've been lucky enough, to work for a charity called the Breast Cancer Haven in London. And I do something called mind-body therapy. So basically help women to release the things that stop them from being peaceful and knowing what they need to do next to make good decisions for themselves. Mm-hmm. Obviously, when people get diagnosed with cancer, most of the time they go into fear. What if I die? No. What if I leave my children alone? And so I do my best to help them to reduce those negative emotions and embrace them and love them and deal with them, So instead of being scared, they can work very effectively and very purposefully, and potentially get better with all the tools that I show them. So that's one side of this. And but I only work there once a week, and then all the rest of the time, my absolute passion and my love is to work with change makers. Well, people like yourself, in fact, people who are on this planet to make a big difference, decision makers, change makers, who have the passion burning inside them, and they know they came here to do something. And what I do is actually help them to release their fear, that number one, because a lot of the time, people who have big things to do on this planet, they're afraid. I'm not going to be good enough. Yeah. I'm not going to be accepted. People judge me. Who am I to write a book? There's so many books already out there. So I help them to release this and tap really into their brilliance and basically be more impactful, make a bigger difference. So that's my absolute love. This is what I do most of the week. And I particularly use this technique which I've developed, the expansion game, which dissolves the fears very quickly. In fact, it turns the biggest fears into the biggest successes. So that's my love, and that's what I do.
That's fascinating. We need more of you. This is really amazing. Because yes, indeed. The beginning of my journey in the UK has been a bit similar to yours, although I did not find a guy who asked me to jump in his car, etc. So I know everything about how fear can stand in your way, and I'm absolutely fascinated about helping women, well, in my case, women, use fear as a fuel as opposed to let it paralyze you, but having the tools, the capacity to transform it to that extent, haven't reached that point yet. So that's very interesting. So this process that you're using, is this something that is, like quick? Is this something that is a process over time? How does that work?
Okay. Well, how much time do we have now? How much time do we have left?
Okay, let's say a little 5 minutes.
Okay. Let me show you how it works. Do you have a fear that's stopping you from getting where you want to get to, and it's paralyzing you a little bit?
I would say probably that the audience, the ideal clients that I'm targeting, that they will think that I'm not good enough.
Okay, and if they do, what will happen?
If they do, what will happen? They won't work with me. So probably that I will, I would say, feel rejected.
Okay, and why would they want to? Why do you think they may think that you're not good enough to work with them?
That's probably somehow linked to my family story. That it is not the same, how do you call that in English? Same social level?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Okay, and tell me that fear of going out there and exposing yourself to your ideal audience, on the scale from 1 to 10, how big is it?
That fear, probably a 7 or an 8.
Fantastic. So that fear would stop most people from doing what they feel they need to do to get themselves out, and they'll be sabotaging themselves, procrastinating, doing other things, other businesses, things for free, because they're not ready, they're not good enough. Fantastic. So tell me, instead of this fear, how would you want to feel? How would you prefer to
have no doubt that what I'm doing is amazing, and that it will serve them, and that I can help them transform their lives. So I would really feel good about myself and about what I am doing for them or helping them do or achieve.
Okay, so if you didn't have that fear, what would you be doing on a daily basis, which you're not doing right now?
Definitely working with them.
Okay, fantastic. So let's do the little exercise. I'm going to ask you to repeat after me certain things, but don't take it seriously as a game. It's called the expansion game.
Yeah, okay.
Repeat after me, and we see what happens with that fear. Okay. So say this. I allow myself to be petrified of putting myself out there.
To be petrified to put myself out there.
And to sabotage myself.
And to sabotage myself.
Procrastinate. Hide.
It works already.
And interview other people. Instead of being out there and doing my work. But I also allow myself to get out there and people to be very disappointed with me.
But I also allow myself to get out there and have people being very disappointed with me.
And thinking, bloody hell, who does she think she is?
And thinking, bloody hell, who does she think she is?
She's useless.
It's useless.
And I'm looking forward to people judging me everywhere I go.
And I'm looking forward to judging people everywhere I go.
Yeah, people judging me everywhere.
Sorry, yeah.
Take a deep breath in. Breathe out and let go. Okay? And now say this. I also allow myself to get out there. And do everything I know I can do.
And
for people to absolutely adore me.
And
interview me. And for me to write a book.
Sorry?
And for me to write a book. And do profound transformation. And help people to step into their brilliance. And do amazing work wherever I go. And make brilliant amount of money. And work with people from different social backgrounds. And make a powerful impact wherever I go. And I'm looking forward to being an incredibly successful coach. And helping people who feel they're not good enough. And I'm so much looking forward to making a difference across the world. Take a deep breath in. Breathe out. Okay. And now tell me how you're feeling. What happened to that feeling?
It was so funny because, in fact, so this has to do with my father who married above his station. So, there is this thing. My mother was not from the same social background. When you were talking in the first part, it all sounded so extremely ridiculous.
Yes.
That's why I had to laugh all the time.
Perfect. That's the point.
And it's exactly that. Yeah. This is fascinating.
Okay, so tell me now, measure the fear. How big is it now out of 10? So it was 8?
It's gone.
It's gone. Brilliant. But this is the expansion game. And that's how it works. It's very quick, elegant, and playful.
It's amazing. So it's the first time that I have something live like that in an interview. But it's really funny because I'm very successful with people that are not in reality my target audience. Because I was, playing with that limiting belief, as we call it as coaches. But when you did it sounded so ridiculous.
Well, yes, this is the beauty of it.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
You laugh at your biggest fears, and then you ride on them like on a sort of you are like a windsurfer. You surf on them towards your most successful future and present.
Interesting. So Gosia, thank you so much for that. We have to make it shorter now because it's already a bit longer than usual. But tell us where people can find you. And I know you told me also you have a gift for the viewers.
Yes. So my main website, which is soon going to be redone. So it's the old website, and it's called GosiaGorna.com. www.gosiagorna.com. And my other website, where they can get a free morning meditation, which is all about going from a place of heart-centeredness and intention, how to actually manifest a beautiful day for yourself. So this website is my-successful-heart.com, mysuccessfulheart.com, and there is a beautiful meditation which lasts 10 minutes. You do it in the morning and you have incredible day ahead. And or you can email me and I will send you the meditation for free.
Thank you so much. I did listen to your meditation. I didn't meditate on it. I just listened to it when you sent it to me. But it is amazing. And as I mentioned to you, I love your voice. It's really soothing. I really like it. So Gosia, thank you so much. This is an interview that could continue for hours, very obviously.
Yes. Absolutely.
So it's been a delight to have you. And so for the viewers and listeners, because there is an audio version of this also, if you too want to make your life more meaningful, more purposeful, so if you want to create your success, but on your own terms, whatever success means to you, you can have a complimentary discovery consultation with me by going on my website, and that is agnesvanrijn.com, so the usual 3 W's, and then ANYESVANRHIJN.com. Thank you again, Gosia.
Thank you so much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.